as well use it. Good thing I'm not a president of a country that owns nuclear weapons. Since I have it, might as well use it, right? I mean, that's not a good thing when you have nuclear weapons. It's okay when you're talking about screen recording. That's okay. All right, so we'll start with line 1. Line 1 doesn't do anything interesting. All it does is to change I to 0. Okay? And we look at the comments here. We have a lot of space, so we can afford to actually change this line to become a lot wider. A bracket I is different from K. How do we evaluate this comparison? What is I at this point?
0.
I is 0, so A bracket I refers to A bracket 0. What is the value of A bracket 0?
2.
It's 2. We're comparing that to K. Is it different from the value of K? Yes, so it is true. This is a conjunction. If the first part is true, we have to look at the second part. The second part is asking, is I less than bar A bar? What is bar A bar in this case? We have 2 elements in the array, so bar A bar is 2. I is 0. Is 0 less than 2?
Yes.
Yep. True and true is true. Okay. So that way we go to line 3. Line 3 is going to add 1 to I. I goes from 0 to 1. And then we go back to line 2. Re-evaluate this condition. What is A bracket I this time?
1.
Okay, I is 1. What is A bracket I?
7.
A bracket I has a value of 7. 7 is different from 3 is true. Very good. So we have to evaluate the second part of the conjunction. I is 1. Bar A bar is 2. 1 is less than 2 is true. Okay, so we have true and true, which means the entire conjunction is true. Very good. So now we move on to line 3 again. We go back to line 2. Okay, line 3 is going to update I to 2. And now we have a little bit of a problem, don't we? Because we have A bracket I is different from K. What is I again? I is 2. What is A bracket 2? Well, we don't know. I mean, is it there?
It's the next memory.
We have a little bit of a problem here because what it does here depends on the programming language now. Okay? So we'll just go ahead and let's see if there's any explosion pictures here.
The second one looks pretty good.
This one is the sun.
Well, it's coming apart.
Oh, we'll do better than that. Besides, you guys can use a break, right? So I can go look for explosions. That's a nice one. Mushroom cloud.
Sexy girls in pantyhose.
Okay, where's my spreadsheet? Oh, this is also an interesting slide. Since we're getting distracted anyway, might as well get distracted with this one too. This spreadsheet, shows you Moore's law. Does anyone know what is Moore's law in this class? Okay.
With the speed of a processor, I believe doubled every 16 or
18 months. I think the current estimate is like 18 months. So this is an estimation of, within 18 months, the speed of a processor doubles because, you can see the number here. And this is based on the power function. In 1 month, you have a 4% gain. In 2 months, you have an 8% gain, and so on. I use this table in cisp300 to show people, if you pay $400 for a computer that is 50% faster than the one that is $500 less expensive, you are buying 11 months of time in terms of when you need to upgrade again. So that gives you a amount of time that you're buying per dollar. When you have to pay extra for a more powerful processor. And then it depends. I mean, some people say it is worth $500 to buy a processor that is, that can buy 11 months of time, and other people would say it's not worth it. But at least you can get an idea of how much time you're buying when you pay extra money for a higher performance computer. So that's basically why I have this little table here that is not useful in this class. So now we go back to our spreadsheet. Okay, and we want to insert picture from file, go to the explosion picture here, which is way too big. Yeah, that's a little bit too big. So we'll go for the, let's see, position and size. Position, size, keep ratio, make it like 3 inches. There you go. That's a nice picture. Okay. So we'll go ahead and save this file in today's folder. Okay. Accessing out of bound. Okay. And just to be very sure that we know what it is representing, should be the other way around. Close enough. You guys want to flip it? Let's flip it. Let's change the direction. Okay. So what are we talking about here? Why do we have a little mushroom cloud in this case? Because we don't have A bracket 2, right? A bracket 2 does not exist because the array only has 2 elements. The next question is, what is the program going to do? Just because there's a logical error in the program does not mean the program will go like this, right? Most of you are taking, go ahead.
In some languages, the program will actually look at the next value in the memory, and some will actually stop working.
There are 3 alternatives. As far as I know, there may be additional alternatives. If you do something like this in Visual Basic, it will give you a runtime error. It will actually report back and say the program is trying to access an array out of bound on this line. It will stop execution. If you're in Visual Studio, it will actually put you at the line in the debugger. Okay, it will say that this is the line that's causing the problem. I has a value of 2 at this point, and it cannot continue because we are trying to access an array out of bound, which is actually one of the best things that a programming environment can do, is to stop and tell you what the problem is. If you do this in C, which most of you will be doing when you take cisp300, C will silently just go ahead and access the location after A bracket 1 and pretend that it is A bracket 2. Okay? Now, in reality, what is that location after A bracket 1 that does not belong to array A? It can be anything. Okay? It can be anything. It can be another variable. It can be another array. It can be the return address, which we have not talked about yet in this class. It can be anything. In other words, it may accidentally really have the same value as what you're looking for. Okay? So that's not good. That is not cool. What about Perl or PHP and some of the other scripting languages? The scripting language will say, oh, let's see, array A has 2 elements. You're trying to access the 3rd element of the array. Guess what? I'll just make the 3rd one appear right now. I'm going to make the array big enough so that A bracket 2 now exists. That's the answer from Perl.
What value does it put in?
The initial value will be called nil or null. Basically it is a non-existent value. When you use the null value in an integer comparison, it is equivalent to 0, basically. Okay, well, gotta stop the distraction. Yes, algorithms is kind of boring, I know that. Okay, so it depends, okay, depending on the, go ahead.
are arrays existent in Linux bash scripting, and if they are, would that do the same thing as Perl, create an array with a null value?
Okay. I don't know in bash script what it's going to do. I think most scripting languages will just make it exist when it does not exist yet.
Okay.
Yep.
So in Perl or PHP, would it just continue to add indexes? I mean, would it ever exit the loop?
Yep. The way it is right now in Perl, it will never exist. It will never exit because the first part of the conjunction makes the new element exist, and by the time you get to the second one, it would be fine because now the array is one bigger than what it was. So the array will never exit. It will. The computer will stop working at some point because it will chew up all the available memory that you can allocate to a single process. So that process will die at some point, but it will be like way later. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Some languages have array length as a method. So you know the array, the length, so you can put that in the loop statement, so you never go beyond it.
You can take a snapshot of the size of an array first. Yes, you can do that. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, the answer to this would be to split your conjunction and to evaluate the I less than bar A bar first.
Well, let me save this file first, and then we'll go for the solution. Okay. So this time we'll go for check. Okay, we'll call this short circuited. Okay. It is actually another module in the notes, so I'm moving a little bit ahead of time, but you guys can read it again when you get to that point. All I really have to do in C programming and in any modern programming languages, all I have to do is to flip the order of the conjunction, and that will fix the problem. Okay, and you would think, really? Is it that easy to fix this problem? Yep, it really is that easy. So what I mean by flipping the order is changing the order of the comparison. I will be comparing I against bar A bar first, and if that is true, I will go ahead and evaluate the second one. Okay, that's going to fix the problem. Really? Is it that easy? Because according to the truth table of conjunction, conjunction should be commutative. Commutative means you can change the order of evaluation without affecting the end result. Okay, like A times B is the same as B times A. So in conjunction, it really should be the case where A and B is really the same as B and A. If one has a problem, how come the other one does not have a problem? That's the question. Okay, I know this one because when you look at true and false is false. False and true is false. True and true is true. False and false is false. The only time where the order is actually important is when one is true, the other one is false. But since they both map to a false, that means the order of those two operands can really exchange locations. It would not, it would not change the result. But how come it is going to fix our problem in this case? That's the question. So what we'll do is now look at the trace again. So this one is the algorithm. This one will be the trace. And obviously this time we won't have a mushroom cloud anymore. And we have to change everything here so that it's going to be I is less than bar A bar, and A bracket I is different from K. So this will continue to be true, and this will continue to be true. And over here, what is the algorithm going to do? The first part of the conjunction is asking, is I less than bar A bar? What is it? I is 2. At this point, bar A bar is 2. 2 is less than 2 is false. Okay? How is that going to save me?